Hey everyone, welcome to another watercolor video. Today we are going to take a look at the differences between Cerulean Blue Chromium and Cerulean Blue. Now this is actually my first time using Cerulean Blue, so let's see if there are going to be any surprises. Cerulean Blue Chromium, this is one of the 30 blues that I have in my palette. I use it quite often to paint skies, to paint some yellow greens. When it's mixed with burnt sienna, you can get a very nice shade of gray. When mixed with a cool red, you can get very beautiful purples with lots of beautiful granulation. That's one of the reasons why I love Cerulean Blue Chromium. It has beautiful textures, you can use it straight from the tube onto the paper and it will just look beautiful. I use this paint up quite quickly because the tinting strength for this paint is not very high, so usually I need to use a lot of paint to get the intensity, especially when I am mixing really deep colors. Okay, so let's paint some color swatches. I have already drawn out two boxes side by side to compare the two paints. Let's start with Cerulean Blue first. One thing about Cerulean Blue Chromium is there is a tendency for the binder to separate from the pigment, and it happens very often. This is Cerulean Blue, by the way. This is a new tube that I bought very recently. Let's start with this Cerulean Blue. So this is PB35. The intensity is not as strong compared to other blues like French Ultramarine or Phthalo Blue. I think the tinting strength here, it's quite similar to Cerulean Blue Chromium. It's also a very beautiful shade of blue. It looks a bit chalky, but it's transparent. That's just how this color looks. I love the granulation already. This sketchbook that I'm using, by the way, is the Hanamule watercolor sketchbook. Alright, this looks like a warmer version, a warmer blue. This is cooler, this is a bit warmer. So visually they certainly look a bit different. And if I were to compare them side by side without a label, I will be able to tell them apart. And now let's mix a gray using Cerulean Blue and burnt sienna. So this is the sort of gray we are looking at. Let's add a bit more burnt sienna to see how it looks. And now Cerulean Blue Chromium with burnt sienna. Both look nice. And now let's mix Cerulean Blue with a cool red. I'm going to use quinacridone magenta, perhaps too much magenta. Maybe a rose madder. Yeah, a rose madder looks nicer. And Cerulean Blue Chromium with magenta. Swatches are all dry. Let's examine them more closely. It looks like Cerulean Blue PB35. It has more granulation compared to the chromium version. So we can definitely see more texture, more granulation here. The granulation, the texture on the chromium version, it's finer. And also, as mentioned earlier, Cerulean Blue PB35, it's a bit more blue, a bit cooler compared to the chromium version. Let's take a look at the gray swatches. So for this gray swatch here, you can see more granulation as well, more texture. And here the texture is more fine grain. But both grays, they look very nice. And here I try to mix with a cool red, magenta, and then I felt like it was a mistake and switch over to rose madder. So again, more granulation here, and you can see the separation between the colors somewhere around here. The pigment in Cerulean Blue and the Chromium version is probably heavier. That's why they do not mix completely with other colors, and that's why you can see color separation like this. And this is very beautiful. You can see the blue within the purple. I love this texture. And this is the Chromium version. Once again, the texture, it's finer. But here you can see some color separation as well. Very beautiful. I love the granulation and the color separation. And here as well, there are three things I really like about Cerulean Blue. The first is the color itself, the second is the granulation, and the third is the color separation when you use it to mix with other colors. Now looking at the color swatches and the mixtures, I sort of prefer Cerulean Blue PB35 because it has more granulation. I was actually expecting Cerulean Blue Chromium to have more granulation, but a side-by-side comparison tells me, well, obviously the PB35 has more granulation, which is surprising to me because I have painted many sketches with Cerulean Blue Chromium, and they have produced beautiful textures all along, like this. There is a lot of texture in the Chromium version as well, maybe not as much as the Cerulean Blue Non-Chromium. And when you use Cerulean Blue to mix with other primary colors, you get sort of like a pastel-like color mixtures. That's because Cerulean Blue is, well, the tinting strength is not that strong. The blue, the intensity is not as strong compared to other blues. That's why you get very pastel-like colors. This was mixed with yellow to get the green. And here you see the purple. It's pastel-like purple. Here's another sketch that was painted with Cerulean Blue in this area here. I just love the color separation and the texture. It's so appropriate for the concrete ground. I believe this was mixed with a little bit of burnt sienna, but here this was mixed with a cool red. I cannot remember which red it was. But the color separation, it's really exciting, really beautiful. Let's take a look at the next sketch. So this sketch wasn't painted with any Cerulean Blue. I used a lot of French ultramarine. And with French ultramarine, you can get really dark colors like this, dark mixtures. If I were to use Cerulean Blue as the only blue, I would not be able to get such dark colors. This is almost close to black. If I were to try and mix Cerulean Blue into this color, I would have to use a lot of paint. This was painted with Cerulean Blue as well, so there is a lot of texture. That's why I was quite surprised when there is a lot of texture. That is why I was surprised when I don't see a lot of texture here. This is actually straight out from the tube as well. Here's another sketch with Cerulean Blue Chromium. Again, a lot of texture. Compare that with French Ultramarine. You can see that the color, the blue, it's more intense. And here it's a bit lighter. The paper does play a part at affecting granulation. This paper, it's cold pressed, but it's a bit smooth compared to other cold pressed paper. But even so, Cerulean Blue PB35, it produced more granulation compared to the Chromium version. Interesting. So after I finish using up these two tubes of Cerulean Blue Chromium, I am probably going to switch over to using the non-chromium version exclusively. I really love the granulation. Do you use Cerulean Blue or the Chromium version? If you do use them, let me know in the comment section what you think about them. If you don't use them, are you thinking of adding them to your palette after looking at the color swatches and the mixes? Let me know as well. And that's all for my video today. If you have any additional questions, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. Bye!